Hello, I hope you're enjoying this wonderful exhibition. I'm Patrick McNaughton, and my research focuses on West African blacksmiths and their art. All across the continent of Africa, ironwork is sophisticated, innovative, and exquisite, even when made into tools and weapons. Look at this beautiful staff, topped by the figure of a woman made by a Bamana blacksmith sculptor. To understand its rich significance, let's consider technology and technique, aesthetic expertise, the social clout of the blacksmith artists, the power of traditional esoteric science, and finally, the weight of history. Western West Africa is our area of interest. Here is a typical landscape: the Niger River, and the outstanding blacksmith Seydou Traoré, with whom I spent a year as an informal apprentice. That's me with Seydou in 1971. Bamana blacksmith sculptors are part of a large culture called Mande, which includes many ethnic groups, several languages, and a rich history of interaction with other cultures across the region. The Mande are famous for their large states and empires, complex systems of commerce, and highly developed arts. Their blacksmiths are famous for art and many other things. There has not been enough archaeology to fully understand African iron history, but in West Africa, this map shows three important developments. In Area 1, the Dar Chit region, making iron from ore, called smelting, began between 800 and 400 BCE by a culture scholars think later created the first great West African empire called Ghana. Soon, iron was being made at numerous sites in Area 2, the Great Plains around the Niger River, and by the middle of the first millennium CE, iron was in heavy production. To the west, Area 3 was another hotbed of iron making along the Senegal River, where at least 60,000 iron-making furnaces have been found. As history moved forward, typical patterns of iron-making included small-scale production by smith families firing their furnace just once a year, or large-scale production where entire communities were dedicated to smelting iron for trade. Archaeology shows a significant change in the middle centuries of the first millennium CE. Blacksmiths moved to the edges of their communities or out to small satellite settlements. There are at least three probable reasons. First, it helped blacksmiths maintain a monopoly on their technology and techniques. Second, it helped protect other citizens from powerful energies believed released during smith work. Third, at some point in history, blacksmiths became known for their mastery of herbal medicine and occult science. Smith isolation reflects the secrecy and power linked to such esoteric knowledge and activities. Archaeologists think this new isolation suggests the solidification of blacksmith identity into the special clans called Nubu. Traditional training was by apprenticeship, often to a father or uncle. Apprentices spent many years, first working the bellows to build strength and patience, then carving wood to learn precise tool use and careful composition. Working iron came last, because learning to shape very hot metal into effective tools and beautiful sculptures is most difficult to master. Another important component of blacksmith training involves the energy called nyama, the energy of action, required for every earthly activity. All living things possess nyama, but Smith clan members are believed born with extraordinary amounts. They must learn to control it, manipulate it, and infuse it into their work. This mastery of energy has played huge roles in society and history. Years of practice and experience make many blacksmiths virtuosos, with large reputations and lots of business. Several specialized in what they enjoyed most or local needs required. Formerly, some specialized in lamps, expressive iron frames on which collections of shallow iron cups were mounted to hold oil and burning cotton wicks. Some smiths even specialized in gun making. The most talented made iron figures, like this one, mounted on staffs, which could be graced with lovely detail in face and body, hat and hairstyle, and often had cage-like openings in the staff itself and elegant little bells attached to the sides. These works were widely recognized for their beauty and for the powerful energy, nyama, that beauty made stronger. All across the vast Mande area, in every community, blacksmith clans have been indispensable. The women, expert clay artists, made all the pottery found in every household. Men made all the wood and iron tools, weapons, furniture, and sculpture. Because of this, and their mastery of the energy called nyama, the smith clans came to possess tremendous social clout. They served as advisors and mediators in every kind of family and community situation. They had special relationships with powerful hunters, for whom they supplied weapons and with whom they shared deep knowledge of the natural world and its supernatural forces and deep involvement in state and empire building. That's a hunter's festival on the left. Blacksmiths also served as counselors to political leaders, who rarely made important decisions without consulting a smith. In the picture on the right, the man in the green cap is doing exactly that with Seydou Traoré, whose advice was widely sought in numerous situations across a large number of communities. Here is Seydou Traoré again, holding ingredients for an herbal medicine. He was frequently called upon for his doctoring skills and herbal knowledge, called Yiridon, the science of the trees. Many blacksmiths study this science and become skillful practitioners, learning how to diagnose illness and fabricate medicines whose herbal ingredients possess curative power. In another kind of fabrication, ingredients from nature are distilled and recombined to harness the energy of action, nyama, to accomplish important things such as preventing illness, protecting people from harm, punishing bad actors, and enhancing the well-being of communities. Many blacksmiths have been very highly regarded for their abilities in this kind of fabrication, the making of amulets and power devices. Particularly powerful devices are como masks, which belong to a social spiritual association of the same name, run by blacksmiths who also make the masks. This organization may be as old as the Mali Empire and has always given the smiths huge amounts of social, political, and economic influence. The ancient Ghana and Mali empires rank among Africa's great accomplishments, and both are intertwined with blacksmiths. One legend says Ghana was largely made possible by an ancient mythic smith, while the Mali Empire emerged from a huge war with a blacksmith-led state, and many Smith clan heroes and military strategists were involved on both sides. Commerce and the great gold trade were also heavily influenced by blacksmiths, whose iron was a big trade item and who played important roles in the mining and amassing of gold. The famous Mali emperor Mansa Musa, depicted on the map, benefited greatly from the gold trade and is widely considered to have been the richest person in human history. Bamana and all Mande people are very aware of their history, so much so that whole clans of professional poets and musicians, the Jelly clans, are responsible for keeping and performing the great historical epics. In these epics, smiths loom large, and it is easy for people to think of them when they use iron tools, watch mask and puppet performances, or see blacksmiths perform outrageous and awesome feats at festivals, such as walking on or sitting in beds of fire or exhaling fire through their coma masks. As the Mande scholar Kasim Kone has said many times, history radiates the weight of blacksmiths. Everything I've said sheds light on these iron staffs. By the 1970s, they were extremely rare, and young smiths admired the senior smiths who made them. As objects, they had multiple uses. They honored and marked the graves of ancestors and were insignia of leaders that also possessed Nyama-generated power. They added power to altars and sacred spaces and to important activities such as initiations and funerals. As images, they were rich with meaning. Being iron, they express and possess the potency of Nyama and of their blacksmith makers. As staffs, they suggest spears and military might in Mande history. Some even ended in spear blades. They could also symbolize snakes, which were themselves symbols of creation, growth, and agriculture. The standing woman refers to a legendary master of esoteric knowledge and power, and also to one of the great Mande creator gods. The hat is a symbol of supernatural prowess for accomplished hunters, sorcerers, musicians, and elders. Called Bamana, the crocodile's mouth, it invokes that creature's potency as a fierce agent of occult power and oracle of soothsaying. The large hands can reference crocodile feet. As artworks, these staffs were considered beautiful, and beauty made them all the more powerful. For Mande smiths, hammering red-hot iron both shapes it and infuses it with more and more of the energy called Nyama. The harder the work, the more detailed the aesthetic accomplishment, the more power the sculpture acquires. We might say these staff sculptures epitomize the nature and accomplishment of Bamana and Mande blacksmiths.